Today we are going to learn lysine through a memorable story mnemonic called the Lysine tale, where the phrase "lie is sin" becomes the phonetic anchor for the word lysine. Imagine entering an old church where a young sinner is kneeling in confession. The priest listens as the boy repeatedly admits, "A lie is a sin." This simple phrase is the key that unlocks the entire mnemonic because "lie is sin" sounds very similar to lysine. Every object inside this church tells us something important about this essential amino acid and helps us remember high-yield biochemical facts for examinations. As we focus on the sinner kneeling in confession, we notice that he appears small and underdeveloped for his age. Nearby, there is a sac labeled growth sac, and the child is worried because he is not growing well. This visual clue reminds us that lysine is an essential amino acid required for normal growth and development, particularly in children. Since the body cannot synthesize lysine on its own, it must be obtained from the diet. Deficiency can contribute to growth retardation, poor tissue development, and impaired protein synthesis. Therefore, whenever you see the stunted child confessing in church, immediately think about lysine deficiency affecting growth. Next, our attention shifts to a large black pot sitting on the church floor. This pot is labeled the ketogenic pot. The pot contains no sugar and no carbohydrate symbols, only fuel for ketone production. This is one of the most important biochemical facts about lysine. Lysine is a purely ketogenic amino acid, meaning it can be broken down only into ketone body precursors and cannot be converted into glucose. In fact, only two amino acids are purely ketogenic, lysine and leucine. The ketogenic pot serves as a strong reminder that lysine belongs to this exclusive group. During fasting or carbohydrate deprivation, ketogenic amino acids contribute to ketone body formation, providing an alternative energy source for tissues. Now look toward the center of the church where a sculptor is carefully carving a statue. Beside him stands a saint carrying bright oranges. The sculptor explains that he needs the oranges to complete the work. This scene represents one of lysine's most important biochemical functions. Lysine undergoes hydroxylation to form hydroxylysine, a critical component in collagen synthesis. However, this reaction requires vitamin C as a cofactor. The saint holding oranges symbolizes vitamin C, while the sculptor represents collagen formation. Without sufficient vitamin C, collagen maturation becomes defective, leading to weak connective tissue and impaired wound healing. Thus, the sculptor and the saint together remind us that lysine plays a vital role in collagen cross-linking, and that vitamin C is required for this process. As we continue exploring the church, we notice a beautiful fresco painted on the wall. The artwork depicts strands of collagen being woven together, while another figure carries a sac labeled carnitine. This fresco highlights two major functional roles of lysine. First, lysine contributes to collagen cross-linking, which provides strength and stability to connective tissues such as skin, tendons, ligaments, and blood vessels. Second, lysine serves as a precursor for carnitine synthesis. Carnitine is essential for transporting long-chain fatty acids into mitochondria for beta-oxidation and energy production. Therefore, the fresco reminds us that lysine is not only a building block for proteins, but also contributes to important metabolic pathways involved in tissue integrity and energy metabolism. Near the church entrance sits a food basket filled with meat, eggs, and other protein-rich foods. Interestingly, a few ears of corn are placed nearby, but seem less emphasized. This food basket teaches us about dietary sources of lysine. Lysine is abundant in animal proteins such as meat, eggs, fish, dairy products, and legumes. In contrast, cereals and grains, particularly corn, are relatively poor sources. This nutritional concept is important because populations relying heavily on grain-based diets may be more susceptible to lysine deficiency. Therefore, whenever you see the basket of meat and protein-rich foods, remember that these are excellent dietary sources of lysine. At the bottom of the image, we find a silver plate engraved with the chemical structure of lysine. This plate serves as a visual reminder of the molecule itself. Lysine contains an amino group in its side chain, making it a basic amino acid. This positive charge contributes to protein structure enzyme interactions, and cellular functions. The silver plate simply reinforces that all the clues in this church point back to one molecule, lysine. Putting the entire story together, the church confession scene gives us the phonetic anchor, lie is sin, which sounds like lysine. The stunted child reminds us that lysine is essential for growth. The ketogenic pot teaches that lysine is one of only 2 purely ketogenic amino acids, along with leucine. The saint with oranges and the sculptor explain the role of vitamin C in hydroxylysine formation and collagen cross-linking. The collagen and carnitine fresco highlights its functional importance in connective tissue and energy metabolism. The food basket reminds us that lysine is abundant in meat, eggs, and other protein-rich foods, but relatively low in grains. Together, these visual clues create a memorable story that helps us recall the most important high-yield facts about lysine quickly and effectively during examinations.